What's up, guys?
Hello.
Welcome to episode number 25.
Schmovie.
Movie Schmovie.
Movie Schmovie. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, we're at the quarter century mark.
It seems.
Quarter life crisis right now.
right.
I think that we kind of went through one in preparation for this episode.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to have like a mental breakdown, emotional, something.
Movies make me, I get so attached to them and I just don't want to, I don't know. I just get emotional about them.
Yeah. I can tell, man. It's going to be okay, though, because this is a safe place. It's a safety net.
Well, you make me feel brand new.
Brand new. Oh.
Every episode, brand new.
Oh, man.
Thank you, man.
You're very welcome. I wish I could say the same. I'm just kidding. All right, so what the idea is, with it being the end of the year, we kind of come up with all these random things that we want to do for the episode so that we're kind of getting out of the normal format that we kind of settled into. We did the worst of. We have a best of episode coming up in the next couple weeks, possibly next week, next podcast episode. But what we decided to do today is basically what we call the Ketchup episode. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about two words, catch up. I'm talking about ketchup like you put on your hot dog.
Right. I put ketchup on everything.
French fries. Chips.
Top ramen.
With
boiled eggs.
Boiled eggs.
Yeah.
Boiled eggs with the ramen?
Yeah, boiled eggs in the ramen with ketchup.
In the ramen with ketchup.
Yep.
Wow.
It's the goodness.
To try that later.
Yeah, it's really
But the idea is that we are basically thinking about movies that we've seen in 2011, either recently or earlier in the year that we didn't have a chance to talk about on the podcast. And for the most part, movies that probably aren't going to be coming up on a future podcast, maybe in our best of lists. So we wanted to kind of like go back and forth. Ronald's got some, I've got some. For better or for worse, we're going to talk about some movies that we didn't have a chance to highlight or that we've seen over the past few weeks that we want to tell you guys about. Some of them you might want to check out, some of them you might want to stay away from. But you're going to kick it off with a current release.
Yes, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. So this is a 2011 release, and this is a really interesting movie. It's a Cold War sort of tale about espionage and lies and secrecy, and it's based on a 1979 TV series. It's interesting because it's basically a gentleman named George Schmovie is the head of this group called the Circus, and there's a group of agents, sort of special agents that kind of come together, and he is made aware, this guy's in retirement, George Schmovie, he was the leader of this group. Yeah. He's told that in the circus, a mole has kind of been planted into the group. Now, it gets very complicated after that.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Yeah, right. So I went to go see a screening of it, and the reason why all right, so bear in mind that this was a TV series condensed into a 2.5 hour movie. Yeah. Now, because of it, we were given a guide that was about 4 pages long, dense. I'm talking about top to bottom of the page explaining the entire scenario. In fact, there's like 20 characters that you're kind of thrown in your face very quickly, and you're forced to kind of process all this information very quickly. Now, I think at the heart of it, this movie was well made. The concept is amazing. I mean, Mark Strong's in it, Toby Jones, Colin Firth, really amazing actors kind of threaded together. The story gets a bit complex, which is why we were given the guides.
Anytime you're given a guide for a movie, especially when it's just sprung on you,
bad move. Like you're
like, oh god, what have I got myself into?
And I've seen, to be completely honest with you, I've seen bits and pieces of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the original, and it was
a TV series.
It was a TV series, so I felt like it gave me more time to kind of process everything that was going on with the characters. And what really took away from it was the fact that it was so complex. There were so many twists and turns, and you were briefly kind of introduced to people. And the only way you were introduced to people was through dialogue, which really became kind of hard because you don't have any sort of like backstory, no flashbacks, no nothing. Mm-hmm. And you have to kind of listen to the dialogue to know the relationships between people, where they stand with people. Are they on the outs with this group? Who's in the circus? And then there's layers of the circus. There's floors to the circus of security. It's just very complex, to say the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I mean, I've heard pretty much what you're saying. the entire time. It's like solid acting, amazing cast, a little complex, a little slow.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about. I mean, I know the John le Carre novel that the series is based on, that this is based on.
Right.
And I actually even read that John le Carre actually has a cameo in the movie. Do you know that, or do you recognize him in the movie?
I didn't know that.
But I mean, there's definitely a solid following for that kind of spy espionage thriller.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to seeing it. But I mean, I just haven't had an opportunity yet.
Yeah. So I mean, it was. The acting in it is incredible. The story is very hard to follow.
Yeah.
Kind of standout actors: Gary Oldman, Tom Hardy, Mark Strong, Colin Firth. Those four, incredible in the movie. A lot of it is really because there isn't too much in the way of backstory.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see the way they interact with each other to kind of feel out who's dirty, who's not, who's plotting.
Double, triple, quadruple cost.
Right, and there's twists on top of twists, which makes for a very interesting film, but it's hard to follow.
Got it.
So
okay.
It's probably not going to be in my top 10, but it's still unmentionable because it's so very interesting. It's
cool.
A very interesting movie.
Cool. The first film I'm going to throw out, I just saw this past weekend, and it's a horror film called The Innkeepers. I saw a trailer for it a few months ago, actually, on Apple's website. What kind of caught me with this film is I've heard so many positive things about this guy, T. West. He's a filmmaker. He wrote, directed, and edited the film. He's made a few other movies that have been out in the past few years, mainly the one that came out a few years ago, The House of the Devil, got a lot of kind of, I guess, positive feedback, a lot of critical acclaim, or at least cult acclaim. Big horror film fan. I'm always looking for kind of a new talent, new filmmaker to be, kind of, I don't know, keep my eye out for, who's going to be my go-to guy.
Right.
Wasn't really a huge fan of The House of the Devil, but this film looked like it had a little more promise for me. Pretty solid cast. Not a whole lot of people you would recognize. Basically, you're talking about Sarah Paxton, who was in the Last House on the Left remake, and Kelly McGillis. I don't know, we always talk about Tom Cruise on this podcast.
Right.
As soon as I saw her, I thought of Top Gun and thought of, Take My Breath Away and how hot she was in that movie and how not she is now.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, you look at Tom Cruise, how amazingly he's aged, and I look at Kelly McGillis, I'm like, I guess she looks good for her age, but, she looks like an older woman. It's weird. I'd like to put them side by side and see how that looks.
I don't mind the older woman thing. Does she look like she's had some surgery done?
No, actually. She looks pretty good for being older, but I'm just saying, when you think about Top Gun and think about Tom Cruise and how good he looks and how well he's aged. But back to the movie.
Right.
Basically, The Innkeepers is a horror film. It's about basically this hotel in Connecticut called the Yankee Peddler Inn, and these two people that work there, Sarah Paxton and a young man named actually it's played by actor Pat Healy, who T. West has worked with before, and they're basically kind of amateur EVP, they record scary stuff and try to catch up. Or, they try to catch ghosts on camera and, the sounds through audio recording equipment. And, there's a whole backstory about the hotel being haunted. And, through the course of the film, it's one of those movies that has this really slow build and you're waiting for something to happen. And some films do it really well where, it does capitalize on that and the investment that you put into it, you realize was worth it.
Right.
Not the case with The Innkeepers. This is another strike for T. West in my book. I don't know that I would see his next film, if anything, just maybe to give him a third strike and just kind of write him off completely.
Wowzer.
But yeah, I mean, it really doesn't have any payoff. I mean, even in the ending, the big scare or the closure that we have in our third act, really nothing that wasn't already provided in the first two. That's one of the big things I feel like he's missed on. If anybody has seen House of the Devil, I'd at least check it out. I think I may have liked that movie a little more because something actually happens in that movie. But the big problem with The Innkeepers is that, with such a small space and a small cast, you're literally talking about 3 people that you're watching the entire film. You need something else to kind of keep you engrossed, especially in a horror film where the acting is not really anything to write home about.
Right.
And there really wasn't any kind of special scare, any build on this urban legend that this house has. But, it's a movie that I think is maybe going to be something on video on demand or DVD that some people might check out. But that's probably what I'd recommend in terms of what it's worth money-wise. I wouldn't go in theaters when it hits out, but it's on a small rollout right now. And it's called The Innkeepers.
Cool.
Maybe worth a shot if you really like indie horror. But Wasn't impressed. Wasn't
not
impressed.
So good?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Yeah, so I guess mine is Midnight in Paris, Woody Allen's latest offering.
Okay.
It's pretty... all right. So,
were you about to say it's pretty good?
No.
Because that's what you always say.
No.
It's pretty good.
So it's basically an ode to a couple things, the 1920s, and some of Woody Allen's kind of favorite figures. Josephine Baker,
Ernest Hemingway,
some of the other characters. While I'm thinking about it, the Fitzgeralds,
Cole Porter, Gertrude Stein. Yeah, I mean,
so it's really about a gentleman named Gil, who is very nostalgic, and he likes the idea of kind of functioning in a time that he's not in. So as he starts to kind of obsess over this idea of being in the 1920s, he's kind of jolted into it.
Yeah.
Where he the more he obsesses over it, the further away from home he becomes, the more separated from reality he becomes, and he kind of indulges in this kind of idea that he is sort of capable of functioning in this life where it's said that creativity was kind of at its height.
Yeah.
For a lot of writers. So he's sitting talking to Coltrane and Josephine Baker and wishing that he can kind of function in this life. I think it's a really amazing ode to the time, Paris, the 20s, and creatively that time. Whether I put that in the top 10 is, You
didn't like it, though, I thought.
I didn't. I like the idea.
Because actually, I'll chime in on this one, because I actually was a really big fan of this movie.
Woody Allen banter. I love his banter.
His screenplays are always entertaining.
Always entertaining.
At least the dialogue.
Right.
I'm usually hot and cold with him. I actually really, really liked Midnight in Paris. I would agree with you. I think it's an incredible ode to the time, to the whole lost generation, all these people that came of age, after the war. And in this place, and in Paris, and in this time, and in some ways so simple, but some ways so complex and challenging and stressful. And Owen Wilson's character, who's Gil, he basically is able to go to this time at night. He wants to go alone on his walks at night to kind of detach from his fiancée, who's played by Rachel McAdams. The two of them together for the first time since Wedding Crashers, but. I really liked, kind of... You learn about Gil in this film, and you realize that that's the kind of person he is, and as much as he wants to be like it was from that time, and he appreciates the simplicities and what they valued in that lost generation, he does have reality checks of, appreciating, the times that you're in and what you have, and, looking back is not as productive as looking forward and things like that.
Yeah.
And, I think I think it was really cool, like, having all these amazing historical figures worked into such a, small 90-minute window, and each character kind of having their own little cool impact on him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm usually hot and cold with him, with Woody Allen movies, but I think going into this, I didn't have a lot of expectations. So, I think it kind of took me by surprise, and I was really impressed by it, personally.
I was not impressed.
Yeah, I know. I built it up a lot for you, and I feel
right.
guilty now because
I didn't hate it.
I saw it. I really liked it.
Right.
I told you about it, and I was like, "Oh man."
And I'm normally pretty good about his. Like, I like his movies. I like the subject matter. I think that what happened was going from something that could happen, like, I guess, reasonable, like, relationship things. Because that's a lot of what he focuses on, even in this movie, kind of the dynamic of relationships and kind of the idea of obsession sometimes. It's kind of a recurring theme in a lot of his movies, and how it affects relationships, sort of like Whatever Works.
Yeah.
Whatever Works. Whatever Works was a kind of a movie of a gentleman that kind of focused on his negativity and his age, and it hindered him from kind of progressing in a relationship. And there's a gentleman in this movie that kind of obsesses over this idea that his ideals, and stuff like that should be. It reminds him of somebody Hemingway, some of the characters that he's kind of read their works, and he kind of wishes he was there. So he has these recurring sort of themes about males that obsess over ideas that essentially damage their relationships, Because that's the same. That's really what we do. We take that baggage, and it destroys us as people sometimes if we let it.
Yeah.
And I think that it was done really well, but I don't like the idea of going back in time and all that stuff. It made me feel weird, and I just was like, all right, I get it, but it didn't seem felt very Wizard of Oz-ish. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think one of the cool things I liked about it too was just like we always talk about locations in films, you know, like as a character almost. And the movie kind of opens with this huge like 3-minute or 4-minute montage of all these shots of Paris, and you know, it kind of sets the stage as like, you know, this is something that I'm going to realize is going to be a character in this movie,
right? And
it is, because like they leave California to go here, you know. To kind of take in the sights, to kind of get away before they're getting married and whatnot, you know, and it becomes a character in the movie, both in the present time and in the, you know, when he goes back in time.
It felt slow too.
You felt slow?
It felt slow.
Yeah, man, we just completely missed on this one together. I felt like it was like pacing was on for like 90 minutes. I was all about it. Yeah.
It felt so slow to me.
It's cool though. I mean, because we took different things from it.
Right,
I think also important to note is that this film is actually, I think, Woody Allen's. It's his highest grossing film. Like when you adjust for inflation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the most successful film he's ever done. And I mean, it kind of rolled out with like a little whisper, and now it's like a movie that people were talking about for Oscars.
That's really.
He always has that buzz going for his films, but I mean, for it to hit at the box office like it did, I mean, I think it says something about the movie too, in terms of a mainstream audience being able to, you know, adult audience in more cases than not, you know, latch onto it. But, Midnight in Paris. I was a fan. You were not. That's totally cool. One that we both saw, another one that we both saw, was Friends with Kids.
Friends with Kids.
A movie that I didn't know a whole lot about. Like, I saw a couple trailers for it. I'm doing research on it before we do this podcast. And I don't even think there's, like, a real poster for this movie.
I don't think so either.
Like a legit promotional poster. Everything I find is, like, an image of... You know, a still from the film, which is kind of weird, but...
It actually... Apparently, it isn't even out yet. Like...
Yeah, I know. I saw, like, a...
It got delayed a while back. I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, apparently it's been made, like... It got shot, like, in early 2010.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been one of those movies that gets kind of pushed back.
The official release date is March 9th, 2012.
So consider this a little token... Merry New Year to you.
Right.
We're a little ahead of the schedule in this one, but you know, it's pretty much anywhere online if you can track it down to watch it. But this is a film that is written, directed, and starring Jennifer Westfeldt, who's actually married in real life to John Hamm, the guy from Mad Men.
Right.
John Hamm's in this film as well. He's a producer on the movie too, which is weird. I saw his name pop up in the credits. But a pretty cool cast, though. Adam Scott, Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, Chris O'Dowd, Megan Fox, Edward Burns. Pretty much a quarter of the cast of Bridesmaids is in this movie.
Right. Amazing cast.
But, you know, basically, Friends with Kids is about two best friends, and that's Adam Scott and Jennifer Westfeldt's characters, who basically are... I guess they're in their mid-30s. I don't know that they ever established their age in the film, but they're at that point in their life where they see their friends that are married, you know, going and having kids, and they kind of make this decision to basically have a kid together, but not be together.
Right.
You know, to kind of get it out of the way so that they can be on the same page about it and care for this child and not make mistakes like they see their friends making. Or at least that's the plan.
Yeah. So what eventually happens is that... They start this little arrangement, and Julie, played by Jennifer, starts to catch feelings. She starts to appreciate his presence and starts to basically head towards the relationship route. And Jason basically replies with, "I don't think we should be doing anything serious. I'm not attracted to you. I don't see myself with you, and this is unreasonable." So the idea that they had that started off as a beautiful sort of arrangement starts to crumble.
Right.
And that's really the heart of it. And what makes it even more interesting is, of all the friends, their circle of friends, Maya Rudolph, Chris O'Dowd, Kristen Wiig, John Hamm, all of them are together, and they have these relationships, but the one that's functioning the best on the surface is the one with Jason and Julie. On the surface. And then when stuff hits the fan, it gets a little crazy after that.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is, though, like, it's like sometimes, like, the person you're meant to be with is your best friend. You know, like, if the person can be your best friend, sometimes it works. And a lot of people are like, never date your best friend. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I feel like I've had friends that have been like, oh, the biggest mistake I ever had was dating one of my friends and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's true. Like, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times, like, that could be like when they're not really your best friend, and when the person doesn't know you the best that they possibly could. And in this situation, Jason and Julie, like you said, like when they have this child and they're going through the motions and the baby the first year and whatnot, you know, they're doing well, you know, well at living their own lives still, but being parents of this child. And when they look at their friends' relationships, one is completely falling apart. One is a little stressful and they don't know how to handle it, but their love and, you know, Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd's character, like they have their issues, but they're still kind of hanging on. Man. But John Hamm and Kristen Wiig, like they're just falling apart at the seams. Yeah. And like you said, when it takes that turn for when Julie realizes that she has feelings for Jason, you know, it's obvious that this pact that they made, you know, the best laid plans, like they say, never go the way that you plan them to. And, you know, she starts to develop feelings for him, and he's kind of having this awesome relationship with Megan Fox, and it's just like they butt heads over it. And that's, you know, kind of how your third act develops in this film. And, you know, not to ruin anything since it's not out in theaters for you, you know, it kind of forced them to really reconsider what their plan was and what they really want out of that idea, and then the rest of their lives, whether it's together or not together.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why it didn't get released. Yeah. I mean, it's very formulaic.
It's pretty predictable. I think Lionsgate, that's the studio that's going to be releasing the film later, or in a few months, apparently. They bought the film at the Toronto Film Festival this past year, and I think they have a challenge in trying to figure out how to market a film like this, because it does have its really funny parts, but then it's kind of crude at parts, you know, and it's like it's not like a romantic comedy that you could just throw an R label on and just think people are going to go to see, you know, like some of the predictability is a little hard-handed, you know, like kind of I don't know.
Yeah, I think that some of the things that get said it's very like harsh. Yeah, I mean, and that's what makes it kind of a hard sell.
Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of real. Yeah, like I remember saying that out loud after my girlfriend and I watched it, and I was like, you know, that seems like that could have been like our friend, or like, you know, I feel like in 10 years or 5 years, like that's what our friends will probably be like. Like if one of the characters in the film, like the couples, actually remind us of one of our friends, just between their dynamics. But, you know, it does kind of lead you on a path of predictability, and you kind of see where the film's going about 2/3 of the way through it, and you kind of just lose the investment at that point, because it does have a kind of a cool idea, but then it I
mean, just to give you an idea of how crude it is, there's a scene where Adam Scott says, "I want to fuck the shit out of you."
Yeah. And he means it completely sincerely.
And that's supposed to be like a sincere moment in the
That's supposed to be his moment.
Right. So just to give you so I can see why it would have such they have such a challenge, Lionsgate, putting this movie out. It's a weird sell. But honestly, I didn't dislike it. I thought it was very entertaining.
Cool. So another movie that I saw, this is one of the ones I know you have not seen yet, but was a film called Project Nim, which is basically a documentary. It's a true story that focuses on Project Nim, which was a program in the 80s. The chimp's name was Nim Chimpsky, and they basically taught him how to speak using sign language. Mm-hmm. This is a film that is directed by James Marsh, who basically a few years ago in 2008 won the Academy Award for Best Documentary for Man on Wire, which was an incredible documentary about the high wire walker in New York City. Yeah. A really touching, really heartfelt, kind of an eye-opening documentary in terms of animal rights and, you know, human interaction with animals, nature versus nurture, things that are explored like that in the film. It's really interesting. I mean, because not knowing a lot about Nim, I mean, I remember hearing about Nim, honestly, like when I was in high school and college, in a few of my classes, like sociology classes and such, but not knowing a lot about the documentary before I went in to see it, I was kind of like really hit hard. I mean, it's really kind of an emotional documentary that I think one of the big things that comes out of it is you see where science falls in the animal world, where human interaction stops, where we almost impose things and we say this is how we want to learn something, or this is how you need to learn something, like teaching a chimp to speak sign language, you know, the ethics in that. And the ethics in taking it out of its natural habitat and having it grow up with a family where the mother literally breastfeeds the chimp in the film. Right. You know, and it's like, where's that line? that it does seem like it gets crossed, in the film, and I'd really recommend it for anybody that has an interest in, documentary films in general. I'm pretty sure this movie might get talked about around Oscar time.
Yeah.
For documentary feature. But also just animals. If you're an animal lover,
yeah.
It's not the heartfelt thing that, March of the Penguins is, or all of Disney's nature series documentaries.
Yeah.
But it definitely is super sweet, very informative, and a real big reality check. So I'd recommend checking out Project Nim for sure.
I think there's something really interesting about the idea of making a documentary about something that took place a while ago. I mean,
it's like starts in the 70s and goes throughout, the 80s and early 90s.
It's not like you have like recent footage. It's like you really have to do deep research. You have to find archived footage and all that stuff. I think it's really, really pretty amazing when people do documentaries on times basically not present time.
Yeah, you're basically that's it. What you said is exactly why this movie works well. Is that you're pulling footage from humane societies, from people that that were working with NIM. You're showing real life interview, like present day interview footage with those people that worked with him, and you learn a lot about about NIM's nature and about all of these people that work with him, about their nature, and the impact that they had on one another, and maybe NIM had more of an impact on us than they'd ever thought possible.
Right.
But it's a great film, and I'd really recommend checking it out.
Sounds good.
What do you got next?
What do I have next?
You have
Oh yes. Oh, we need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah. Do we?
We need to talk about Kevin. So this is a very interesting movie. We need to talk about Kevin as a story of a kid
named
Kevin. Who basically...
He's a son of a bitch.
He is ridiculous. He basically goes on a shooting spree. And this movie is about the aftermath of that stuff.
Okay.
So, Tilda Swinton, John C. Reilly, Ezra Miller, basically, this sort of revolves around the three of them. So, basically, at the point where we catch the mother, Eva, she's kind of just functioning after everything occurs. She's like by herself, living in filth. You don't know why. And through flashbacks.
I love it when you flash blacks.
Through flashbacks.
When you just get naked in front of black people. It's amazing. Flashing blacks. Favorite thing to do on a Friday night.
Flashbacks. Through these flashbacks, you get to see basically what really made Kevin who he was. I mean, this kid from the jump was a terrible person. Like, nothing about her parenting could have prevented sort of what went down. She was as nice as she could be.
Yeah.
The father was as nice as he could be, but he also kind of babied him. So when he would do something absurd, John C. Reilly's character, Franklin, would defend his actions.
Sure.
And this is basically how their relationship developed throughout. I mean, this is a pretty ridiculous sort of situation. I remember hearing about the book We Need to Talk About Kevin. It had been released a couple years prior, and it had gotten critical acclaim. I'd heard really good things, and I'd kind of read a portion of the book, which kind of made this experience a little more interesting because I'd read some background on it. I'd read portions of the book. But this kid, Kevin, was terrible, man. Like, he was awful. And there weren't too many people involved around it. And what makes it even more interesting is seeing how people present day are reacting to her. There's a scene where she's walking out of... She basically goes into a very dark place where she's not working, not doing anything.
Yeah.
She basically has her first interview. She comes outside, and she gets punched in the face.
Wow.
Like, this woman's like, I can't believe you fucking did this. I can't believe you let your son kill all these people. And she's being blamed for this.
Well, there's another conversation of nature versus nurture.
Right.
Was this kid born a demon seed? Or?
Right. It's insane to kind of see how terrible this kid could truly be. And I think that people have this idea that you raise this kid and you determine how this kid becomes. But really, at the heart of it, it's really who that kid wants to be.
Sure.
Like, really, really, really. Awesome. It's a really uncomfortable movie. It's jarring the entire time. You're kind of on the edge of your seat the whole time. And I think it's a really powerful film, but I would never watch that shit again. It's really hard to watch.
That's what everyone that I know that has...
It's
I haven't seen
hard
it yet.
to watch.
I have it to check out.
It's hard, man.
It's super tough.
It hurts. Like, it hurts to see. I mean, because I went to school with a couple people that were like kind of... You had something about them, man. Like
something's missing,
and a lot of the times they wind up going to jail or doing something really crazy.
Right.
And you know from the jump, every action that they take, that they're capable of doing something ridiculous like this.
Yep.
So you kind of see this kid unfolding in front of, like, for example, the kid didn't speak until he was about 7. He pooped himself, and for quite some time. So he was like 7, 8, pooping himself.
Wait, that's not normal?
Right. So you used to just poop on yourself. It was just like that. It was just like really, really, really rough movie, man.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and when I see it, we will definitely be talking about Kevin.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'll throw another one out that I don't know that you've seen it, but I went and saw it last weekend. Was We Bought a Zoo, new film from Cameron Crowe starring Matt Damon, Patrick Fugit, Scarlett Johansson, Elle Fanning is in it as well, and Thomas Hayden Church.
Scary Elle Fanning.
Yeah, she's okay, man. I kind of like her. I loved her in Super 8.
She was great in Super 8.
Yeah, she was great.
Just one of those kids that's too old.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you mean. I was really intrigued by this film, mainly because I love Cameron Crowe.
Right.
I know we've kind of maybe mentioned it a few times here on the podcast, just in passing, but it's based on a memoir by Benjamin Mee. I mean, it actually is based on this guy who bought a zoo for his family. Like, when a life crisis happens, he lost his wife, kind of uproots his family from the city to buy in this zoo on the outskirts. And it's about how the kids are dealing with the loss of their mother, how he's dealing with the loss of security that he had when his wife was around. And for the most part, he's a successful man. Like, he has family inheritance. He had a great job he liked, but he just saw it as a really big opportunity to just kind of move. And I was kind of interested to see how Cameron Crowe would kind of handle this kind of comedy drama family fare. And it is very much a family kind of film. Mm-hmm. When I saw it in theaters, like the mixed crowd, some younger kids, with mom and dad, grandma, it was a kind of a cool collection of people in the theater to see a Cameron Crowe film, which isn't, I guess, normally the case. Like, he usually kind of has a little more polarizing films like Vanilla Sky or...
How's the soundtrack, speaking of which? Because I love Cameron Crowe.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. You never are let down by a Cameron Crowe soundtrack. He has a lot of the score and music composition for the film was done by the lead singer of the band Sugar Rose.
Okay.
And then you also have a lot of the soundtrack, the songs from the soundtrack from a lot of the bands of, like, the 60s, 70s, 80s, a lot of people that pepper a lot of Cameron Crowe films, like Tom Petty, Echo and the Bunnymen, Wilco, Cat Stevens, Dylan, Temple of the Dog is on it, which is awesome. Even some Randy Newman songs. But it's really cool. I mean, it really sets a nice little tone for the film. I actually really liked the movie. I was surprised. I knew I'd like it because I like Cameron Crowe. I like, Matt Damon. But I was worried that it might be too family. But I think it kind of stays right on that line safely enough that it doesn't dip its feet too deep into that kind of cheesy pool. Really cool soundtrack. I love animals. As you can tell, I talked about Nim before. Right. It was really cool seeing all the different animals in the film and seeing an effort and being based on a true story. I would love to be able to go to the zoo that it's based on. Is actually in England, I believe. In the film, they're in California, but in real life, it did happen. Like, the Dartmoor Zoological Park was bought by this guy Ben, and like in England, and they revitalized it, and it's awesome that it actually exists. And I would love to one day, hopefully go there and check out what those efforts have afforded him and his family, and maybe meet him one day. But We Bought a Zoo is in theaters now, and I definitely give it a thumbs up, and I think it's worth checking out.
Cool.
The last one we're going to throw out today is a movie that we've both seen, and I mean it's on It's on DVD now, and it's a film starring Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
It's called Win-Win.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to throw us off with this one?
So, Win-Win. Basically, the story of Paul Giamatti's character. And what's basically happening around this time is that he meets a child who is troubled.
Troubled?
He's troubled, to say the very least.
Yeah.
But he's talented. He has the ability to wrestle. His name is Kyle, right? Kyle is his name.
Yeah.
And Paul Giamatti's character, Mike, basically takes Kyle into his life. Now, Kyle is different. He curses. He smokes. he's kind of a rough around the edges, but he also has a side to him that's very loving, caring, and Paul Giamatti asks his wife, played by Amy Ryan, Jackie, to bring him in and kind of, because he wants to revitalize his wrestling program at the heart of it, to kind of be a part of the family. And a couple things happen. Like Kyle kind of teaches them sort of how to bring a family together, because he kind of doesn't have any family. He has his mom, who is on again, off again drug user, and they teach him kind of the way family's supposed to be. In their eyes, the way family, that could be a loving environment where you can kind of flourish and be a good person. And it's a really powerful film. I think Paul Giamatti always brings a lot to the screen. And his relationship with Kyle, kind of seeing him interact with Kyle and seeing him flourish, seeing him become not only a really good wrestler, but a friend and almost like a brother to the siblings in the house. It's pretty amazing. So it has a really indie feel to it, of course. It is an indie release, very limited release. I don't even remember seeing it at really any major theaters.
I don't think it had a release here in Baltimore, but you can definitely check it out on DVD. And it's a film written by and directed by Thomas McCarthy, who, if you've seen films like The Station Agent, you would know him, or The Visitor. He is an incredible American, writer-director who has a really good knack for just touching on human emotion, the pathos, the what we do and why we do it, and why each of us have flaws, and in those flaws are opportunities sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters in the film, both Mike and Kyle, Paul and the young boy respectively, who have their flaws and who make mistakes and who have, elements of their character or personality that me or you or somebody else in their life might have a problem with, but it is those things that differ between us that kind of allow us to work together a lot of times.
Yeah.
Kind of a situation in the film, Mike kind of gets himself into some questionable situations with his business dealings.
Right.
He's moonlighting as a wrestling coach, which is one of the things that attracts him to Kyle, is that this kid's like an amazing wrestler.
Yeah.
And he kind of invigorates his life because he's good at something. His team starts to win, and like nothing else is really going great in his life. He's trying to hold his family together, keep his job, from these unquestioned or these decisions that he's made that have been so, I would say, shady. Mm-hmm. It's like the bright spot, and it's like that silver lining that you've been looking for, and that obviously his character in the film has been looking for a long time. And and like you said, it's really about how Kyle affects the family, for the better.
Yeah.
In the end. But yeah, if you've ever seen Station Agent or The Visitor, again, two movies that I love both of those films.
I've seen The Visitor. I haven't seen Station Agent.
Yeah, incredible films. Bobby Cannavale from Station Agent is in this film. And just it's a really good time if you want to watch movies that are about me and you. I feel like they feel very real. There's nothing too envelope pushing about this film. I feel like it's an example of why you don't have to get crazy with a movie, to have an effect, or kind of to allow it to kind of have a little bit of a shine to it, and kind of just get a little bit of extra credit or praise. And most critics have loved this movie.
Yeah.
It kind of came out earlier in the year though, which kind of Marchish, I think, kind of hurts like any kind of chance it has at like Oscar potential. I haven't really heard much about it. Kind of talked about it award season.
That's always the bad part about something releasing so early is it gets forgotten if it doesn't come at like the mid-year mark or after.
Even movies come out the mid-year. There's like one or two
that survive,
and
that's only because they're big budget. You know what I mean? Some of the bigger budget movies.
And this is definitely not one of them.
Yes, not at all. It's very much it's a small town sort of movie, and that doesn't require much in the way of funding. But it was a really good movie.
Yeah, definitely check it out if you like those kinds of films. But yeah, so those are some ideas. I mean, some movies that we've seen over the past few months or this year that we didn't have a chance to talk about on the prior 24 episodes.
Right.
So we wanted to drop them down real quick before we moved on. In the next episode, we will be going over our top 10 films of 2011. So, pull up your chair for that one because that's going to be a good one.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. I hope we don't, get into a fight or something.
I know. I feel like our list is so different. But
yeah,
I
don't know all the ones on yours yet. I've got a couple in my back pocket that I think might...
Oh, I have a bunch in my back pocket. I also have some...
You have very big back pockets, though.
Yep, and those I have some in the lining of my boxers as well. I have some there.
Very discreet. I like it. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. Be sure to tune in to the next episode especially. It's going to be... the fact that we have 25 episodes, we just started doing this for the hell of it, and it's cool that we're still getting together. We get people emailing us and, kind of checking out our schmovie.net page for, the news, things that we throw up there, trailers, posters, all kinds of random stuff that we think you might like. And, if you listen to the podcast, please review it in iTunes. Please leave a little star rating or, write a little thing, a comment for us. And share it with your friends. And if you're checking out the Mixcloud, there's code on there. You can even embed it onto your personal pages or your blogs.
Share it with everyone.
It's free. It's out there for anybody that wants to share it. And we really appreciate it. So please do that if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
really appreciate it.
We'll check in with you guys next week. And 2011's over, man. It's on to 2012.
Crazy. it's insane. Just the idea that I swore I was in January 2011, a second ago.
I'm still writing it.
Right.
On all my stuff at work.
Everything, yeah.
I'll catch up eventually. Cool, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening, and be sure to check out next week's episode where we will be talking about top 10 films of 2011.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.